It felt like a scene from a bad movie. You know the one, the cliché where the husband leaves his wife for the younger, shinier secretary. Except this wasn't a movie. This was my life. The man I had built a home with, shared dreams with, and loved for over a decade, sat me down one Tuesday evening and shattered my world into a million pieces. "I'm in love with someone else," he said, his eyes avoiding mine. The someone else was a name I knew well, Chloe, his secretary, a woman half my age, who always seemed a little too eager to laugh at his jokes during company Christmas parties. The days that followed were a blur of tears, disbelief, and an emptiness so profound it felt like a physical ache in my chest. He packed his bags, leaving behind the ghost of our life together. The house suddenly felt cavernous, every room echoing with memories I now had to face alone. Friends and family rallied around me, offering words of comfort, casseroles I couldn't eat, and advice I wasn't ready to hear. "You're better off without him," they'd say. "He'll regret this." At the time, their words felt like empty platitudes. How could I be better off? How could he possibly regret leaving me for someone new and exciting? I let myself grieve. I screamed into pillows, watched our wedding video on a loop until I couldn't cry anymore, and I ate way too much ice cream straight from the carton. But then, one morning, I woke up and something had shifted. The sun was streaming through the window, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel dread. I felt a flicker of something else. Anger, yes, but also determination. I wasn't going to let this be the end of my story. I was the protagonist, not a forgotten side character. So, I started small. I rearranged the furniture, reclaiming the space as my own. The leather armchair he loved, I sold it online. The abstract painting he insisted on hanging in the living room, I replaced it with a vibrant piece that made me smile every time I saw it. I started cooking again, not the meals he preferred, but the ones I loved. I filled the house with my music, my scents, my life. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with amidst the hustle of married life. We went out for dinners, took weekend trips, and laughed until our sides hurt. I joined a pottery class I'd always wanted to try. My hands, once busy folding his laundry and making his coffee, were now covered in clay, molding something new and beautiful from a shapeless lump. It was therapeutic, symbolic even. I was reshaping my own life. I threw myself into my work with a renewed passion. The energy I had once poured into my marriage, I now invested in my career. I took on new projects, pitched bold ideas, and worked late, not out of obligation, but out of genuine excitement. My boss noticed, my colleagues noticed. I got a promotion, one that came with a significant raise and a corner office with a view. I was no longer just his wife. I was me, a successful, capable woman standing on her own 2 feet. Months turned into a year. Then too I traveled. I saw the Eiffel Tower sparkle at night, something we had always talked about doing someday. I hiked in mountains, swam in oceans he was too afraid to venture into, and discovered a strength within myself I never knew I possessed. I learned to be happy on my own. It wasn't just a state of being, it was a deep, unshakable contentment. I had built a life that was so full, so vibrant, that the hole he left had not only been filled, but had been completely paved over and landscaped with a beautiful garden. And then, the inevitable happened. An email. "Can we talk?" My heart didn't leap or sink. It was strangely calm. We met for coffee at a neutral place. He looked older, tired. The confident man who had walked out on me was replaced by someone who seemed lost. He told me things with Chloe hadn't worked out. The excitement had faded, replaced by the mundane reality that he was, well, just an ordinary middle-aged man. He said he had made the biggest mistake of his life. He missed our home, our conversations, our shared history. He missed me. He told me he wanted to come back. He painted a picture of us starting over, of fixing what he had broken. He said all the things I had once longed to hear. He even cried. And as I sat there listening to him, I didn't feel anger or pity. I felt nothing. The woman he was talking to, the one he wanted back, didn't exist anymore. She had been forged in the fire of his betrayal and had emerged as someone new, someone stronger. I took a sip of my coffee, looked him straight in the eye, and smiled. A genuine, peaceful smile. "I'm sorry you're hurting," I said, and I meant it. "But that life you want back, it's not here anymore. I've built a new one, and there's no room for you in it. I wish you the best, but my future doesn't include you." Walking away from that coffee shop was one of the most empowering moments of my life. It wasn't about revenge. It was about closure. It was about recognizing my own worth. He didn't come crawling back to the woman he left. He came back to a woman he no longer recognized, a woman who had learned that the greatest love story she would ever be a part of was the one she had with herself. For anyone going through something similar, know this. The end of one chapter is the beginning of another, and you are the author. You get to decide how the story goes. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you in any way, I'd be so grateful if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.